Princess Nixara Zorvile stood on her balcony on the planet Valoria. The night was clear, and 3 moons shone in the sky. Her skin glowed slightly in the dark, with small patterns of light that showed her feelings. Right now, those patterns showed she was upset. "No," she said firmly, "I will not marry him." This was the 7th time she had said no to a suitor. The man who had just left was a prince from a nearby star system. He was rich and powerful, but Nixara did not care. Her advisor Kellis sighed. "Your Highness, the council is worried. If you married Prince Zextor, our world would have protection from the Void Swarm. The Arcturus Dominion has many warships. The Void Swarm was a group of energy creatures that attacked planets and ate all life. They had been moving closer to Valoria for years." Nixara's antenna moved with anger. "I will not be sold like a piece of property, Kellis. These men don't want me. They want our quantum crystals." Quantum crystals were rare and valuable. They powered the fastest ships and the strongest weapons. Valoria had the largest mines in the galaxy. "The council only thinks of politics," she added. "They do not think of my happiness." Kellis bowed. "As you wish, Your Highness. But please consider the safety of our people." After Kellis left, Nixara watched the stars for a long time. No one knew her secret. At night, when everyone thought she was sleeping, she sneaked away to her hidden ship. It was called the Phantom Blade, and it was the fastest and most powerful ship in the galaxy. Most people thought it was just a legend, but Nixara had found it in an ancient temple when she was younger. She used this ship to patrol the borders of Valoria's star system. The Galactic Confederation, which her world was part of, said they would protect all member planets. But Nixara had seen how slow they were to respond to threats. She did not trust them to save her people if the Void Swarm attacked. "Time for patrol," she whispered to herself. She pressed a hidden button in her room. A secret door opened in the wall. Nixara quickly changed from her royal dress into a black flight suit. Then she took a small transport pod down to a cave, deep beneath the palace. The Phantom Blade waited for her there. It was beautiful and strange. Its hull seemed to shift between solid metal and pure energy. The ship was partly alive with systems that responded to her thoughts. "Hello, old friend," she said, as she placed her hand on the ship's side. It hummed in response, recognizing her touch. Inside, she sat in the captain's chair and connected her mind to the ship's systems. The Phantom Blade came alive, its engines making almost no sound as they powered up. The cave ceiling opened, revealing the night sky, and the ship rose into space. Nixara flew to the edge of the system, near the dangerous area called the Void Rift. This was where the Void Swarm would come from if they attacked. She scanned the area carefully, looking for any signs of danger. Suddenly, her sensors detected something. It wasn't the Void Swarm. It was a small ship, damaged and drifting toward the rift. If it fell into the rift, whoever was inside would die. "Computer, identify that vessel," she ordered. "Unknown design," the ship's computer replied. "Matching with database. Match found. Earth vessel, human-made. Designation, Horizon Seeker." Nixara was surprised. Humans were a new species in the galaxy. They had discovered faster-than-light travel only 50 years ago. The Confederation considered them too primitive for full diplomatic relations. What was a human ship doing this far from Earth? She scanned the ship more closely. Life support systems were failing. There was only one person aboard, and they wouldn't survive much longer. Nixara made a quick decision. "Computer, prepare for rescue operation." The Phantom Blade moved closer to the human ship. Nixara opened a communication channel. "Earth vessel, this is Princess Nixara Zorvile of Valoria. Your ship is badly damaged. I'm going to bring you aboard my ship." There was static, then a weak human voice responded. "This is Lieutenant Laurel Bennett of Earth's Stellar Exploration Corps. Thank you. Oxygen. Running out." The transmission cut off. Nixara activated the transport beam quickly. A moment later, the ship's computer informed her that the human was safely aboard in the medical bay. Nixara set a course back to Valoria, but not to the palace. She would take the human to a secret base first. The council would be angry if they knew she had rescued a human. They might try to use the human for political advantage. As she flew, Nyxara wondered about this human, Laurel Bennett. Humans were known to be adaptable and creative, but also emotional and unpredictable. This could be interesting. When they arrived at the hidden base, Nyxara landed the phantom blade in a mountain hangar. She walked quickly to the medical bay, curious about her guest. Lieutenant Laurel Bennett was awake, sitting up on the medical bed. She had auburn hair cut short and bright green eyes. Her skin was tan, without any of the light patterns that Valorians had. She looked smaller and more fragile than Valorian people, but her eyes showed intelligence and courage. When Nyxara entered, Laurel's eyes widened in surprise. Humans had never seen Valorians before, but instead of showing fear, Laurel did something shocking. She looked directly into Nyxara's eyes and spoke. "Thank you for saving my life, Your Highness. I'm Lieutenant Laurel Bennett of Earth." The guards who had followed Nyxara moved forward angrily. No one was supposed to look directly at the princess or speak without permission. This was a serious breach of protocol, but Nyxara raised her hand to stop them. She wasn't offended. She was fascinated. No one had ever treated her as an equal before. Everyone in the palace either feared her power or wanted to use it for their own gain. This human didn't know the rules, but there was something refreshing about her directness. "You're welcome, Lieutenant Bennett," Nyxara replied with a small smile. "But I'm curious. What was an Earthship doing so far from your home system?" Laurel explained that she had been mapping uncharted space when her ship had suffered engine failure. She had been drifting for days, trying to repair the systems and sending distress signals that no one answered. "I steered toward your star system, hoping someone might find me," she said. "I never expected to be rescued by royalty." Nyxara found herself liking this human more and more. She made a decision that would change both their lives forever. "Lieutenant Bennett, your ship is beyond repair. I will arrange for your return to Earth with a diplomatic escort. But first, would you like to see Valoria? No human has ever visited our world before." Laurel's face lit up with excitement. "I would be honored, Your Highness." Neither of them knew that this simple act of kindness would soon lead them into danger, war, and a love that would change the galaxy forever. Laurel had never seen anything like the planet Valoria. The buildings were made of crystal that changed colors with the light. Plants grew in strange shapes, some floating in the air without roots. The people had skin that glowed with inner light, just like Princess Nyxara. "This is amazing," Laurel said as they walked through the royal gardens. "On Earth, we only dreamed about worlds like this." Nyxara smiled. "And I have read about Earth. Your oceans, mountains, and forests sound beautiful." They had spent 3 days together. Nyxara had told her advisors that Laurel was a special guest who needed to rest before returning home. In truth, the princess enjoyed showing Laurel around and learning about humans. "Your Highness," Laurel said, "I've been wondering, why did you save me yourself? Surely a princess has people who could have done that." Nyxara's antenna twitched. She had not told anyone about the Phantom Blade or her secret missions. "Let's just say I happened to be in the area," she replied. Before Laurel could ask more questions, Kelly's hurried into the garden. His face showed worry. "Your Highness, the council needs you immediately. There's been an attack." Nyxara's body tensed. "The Void Swarm?" "Yes, Princess. They've destroyed an outpost near the rift." Laurel saw fear in both their faces. "What's the Void Swarm?" Nyxara quickly explained. "They're energy beings that consume all life. They travel between stars, destroying everything in their path. We've been watching them for years, but they've never attacked us directly until now." "I should leave you to deal with this," Laurel said. "No," Nyxara surprised herself by saying. "Come with me. I'd like to hear what you think." They followed Kelly's to the council chamber. 12 older Valorians sat around a table arguing loudly. They fell silent when Nyxara entered. "Why is the human here?" one council member asked with disapproval. "Lieutenant Bennett is my guest," Nyxara said firmly, "and she stays. Now tell me about the attack." The head of the military, General Varick, stood up. The outpost on Krell Moon is gone. All 50 people dead. The swarm has entered our system. He showed a map of the star system. A red cloud was moving slowly toward Valoria. We've called for help from the Confederation, another council member said. Prince Zextor has offered to send ships immediately if you'll reconsider his proposal. Nixera's light patterns flashed with anger. So it begins. They use our danger to force my hand. We need those ships, Your Highness, General Varick said. Our fleet is too small to fight the swarm alone. What exactly are these creatures? Laurel asked. What do we know about them? The council looked shocked at her interruption, but Nixera nodded for her to continue. On Earth, we study all kinds of energy patterns. Maybe I can help. General, Varick hesitated, then explained. The Void Swarm is a collective of energy parasites. They feed on the life force of planets. They're drawn to energy sources, especially our quantum crystals. Show me the data from previous encounters, Laurel requested. The general brought up more images on the screen. Laurel studied them carefully. These energy patterns look familiar, she said. Similar to something we discovered near Jupiter. We found that certain frequencies disrupted them. The council members looked at each other with doubt, but Nixera was interested. What kind of frequencies? Inverse harmonic waves, Laurel explained. If these creatures are similar to what we found, they can't handle energy that reverses their own patterns. That's actually a good observation, said a scientist on the council. We could modify our shields to emit those frequencies. It wouldn't stop them completely, Laurel warned, but it might slow them down until help arrives. Make it happen, Nixera ordered, and prepare the fleet. We'll need every ship. After the meeting, Nixera took Laurel to a quiet room. Thank you for your help, the princess said. The council doesn't like outsiders, but your idea might save lives. I'm glad I could help, Laurel replied. But there's something I don't understand. The general mentioned quantum crystals. What are they? Nixera explained that quantum crystals were rare minerals that could store and focus energy in ways that defied normal physics. They powered Valorian technology and were the main reason the planet was so wealthy and advanced. They're also why everyone wants to marry me, she added bitterly. Not for me, but for control of the crystal mines. Laurel looked directly at her again, in that human way that ignored royal protocol. Anyone who can't see beyond your title to the person you are doesn't deserve you anyway. Nixera felt her light patterns changing to show emotions she didn't want to reveal. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. Later that night, after Laurel had gone to bed, Nixera slipped away to her secret hangar. She needed to see the Void Swarm for herself. But as she prepared the Phantom Blade for launch, she heard a noise. She turned to find Laurel standing there. I thought I might find you here, the human said. You have a secret ship. Nixera was stunned. How did you know? How did you find this place? I followed you last night too, but I didn't say anything, Laurel admitted. I'm an explorer. I notice things. The way you talk about space, the technical knowledge you shouldn't have, if you're just a princess who stays in a palace. Instead of being angry, Nixera felt relieved. Finally, someone knew her secret. This is the Phantom Blade, she said. I found it years ago. I use it to protect Valoria when no one else will. And now you're going to check on the Void Swarm? Yes. Laurel stepped forward. Take me with you. 2 sets of eyes are better than 1. Nixera hesitated, then nodded. Together they boarded the ship and launched into space. As they approached the area where the outpost had been destroyed, Nixera showed Laurel how to use the sensors. There they are, Laurel said, pointing to the screen. A massive cloud of energy was moving slowly through space. They're bigger than I expected. And they're heading straight for the crystal mines, Nixera observed. Just as I feared. Suddenly, the ship's alarms went off. The Void Swarm had detected them, and a tendril of energy was reaching toward the Phantom Blade. Evasive maneuvers. Nixera shouted, taking control of the ship. She flew with incredible skill, spinning and diving to avoid the energy tentacle. They're faster than the reports said, she gasped as they narrowly escaped. Laurel was checking the sensors. Wait, look at this reading. When your ship phased, they couldn't track us as well. The Phantom Blade had the unique ability to shift between solid matter and energy states. It was part of its legendary status. You're right, Nixera said. That gives me an idea. She piloted the ship closer to the swarm again, this time deliberately phasing in and out. The creatures seemed confused, unable to lock onto them. We could use this, Laurel said excitedly. If we understand how they track energy sources, we might be able to misdirect them. As they watched, more tendrils reached for them, but Nixera's flying kept them safe. They gathered valuable data about how the swarm moved and reacted. When they had enough information, Nixera set course back to Veloria. You fly like no one I've ever seen, Laurel said with admiration. Where did you learn? I taught myself, Nixera replied.
This ship responds to thought as much as physical controls. We've grown together over the years. As they approached Veloria, they saw ships in orbit. The design was unfamiliar to Nixera. Those aren't our ships, she said with concern. And
they're not Confederation either. Laurel looked at the scanner. They're from Earth, that's our design. They received a transmission from the lead Earth ship. Valorian vessel, this is Captain Natalie Ward of the Earth Alliance. We're responding to an automated distress signal from Lieutenant Laurel Bennett. Laurel was shocked. My ship must have kept transmitting after I was rescued. Should I answer them? Nixera asked. Laurel nodded. Earth doesn't know about the Void Swarm, but if they're here, they could help. Nixera opened a channel. Captain Ward, this is Princess Nixera Zorvale of Valoria. Lieutenant Bennett is safe with me, but we face a serious threat. Your help would be welcome. There was a pause, then Captain Ward replied, A princess? Well, that's a first for us. We're glad Laurel is safe, and we're ready to assist however we can. As they landed at the palace spaceport rather than the secret hangar, Nixera knew everything was changing. The arrival of Earth ships would shock the Council. The Confederation would be angry about unauthorized contact with humans. But none of that seemed important anymore. The Void Swarm was coming, and every ship would be needed for the fight ahead. And as she looked at Laurel, who had shown more courage and honesty than any suitor who had ever come calling, Nixera felt something new. Something that made her light patterns glow in ways they never had before. The council chamber had never been so loud. The 12 members shouted over each other while Nixera sat calmly on her throne. Beside her stood Laurel, looking uncomfortable, but determined. This is unprecedented, shouted Councillor Tellax. Bringing humans into our affairs without Confederation approval. Earth ships in our orbit, added another. The Confederation will see this as a treaty violation. Nixera raised her hand, and the room fell silent. The Void Swarm will reach our main continent in 5 days, she said firmly. The Confederation forces promised by Prince Zextor are delayed again. Meanwhile, Captain Ward has offered 7 Earth ships to help defend us. I have accepted her offer. But Your Highness, protested General Verex, human technology is primitive compared to ours. Their ships will be useless against the swarm. Laurel stepped forward. With respect, General, Earth ships may be less advanced, but they're built differently. Our shields use frequencies that might disrupt the swarm, as I suggested earlier. And who are you to advise us on warfare? Sneered Councillor Tellax. Lieutenant Bennett is now my official advisor on Earth relations, Nixera announced, surprising everyone, including Laurel. And she will help coordinate our defense with the Earth ships. After the meeting, Nixera took Laurel to the Military Command Center. Captain Ward was waiting there with 2 other Earth officers. Princess, Captain Ward bowed slightly. She was a tall woman with dark skin and short gray hair. Her uniform was similar to Laurel's but with more decorations. Thank you for accepting our help. Thank you for offering it, Nixera replied. I understand you've been briefed on the Void Swarm? Yes. Lieutenant Bennett's files were most helpful. We've already begun modifying our shields based on her research. General Verex joined them, still looking unhappy about working with humans. We should focus our defense on the crystal mines, he said, pointing to a map. That's what the swarm is after. Laurel studied the map. That's what they expect us to do, but what if we don't? Everyone looked at her in surprise. "The crystals are our most valuable resource," General Varick said. "We must protect them." "Yes, but—" Laurel walked around the table thinking. "On Earth, we have a saying. Never fight the battle your enemy prepares for you. What if we make them think we're abandoning the mines?" Nixara was intrigued. "Go on." "We make it look like we're pulling forces back to protect the cities instead. The swarm will rush to the mines thinking they're undefended. And then?" Captain Ward asked. "We set a trap," Laurel continued. "Princess, you said quantum crystals can focus energy in unusual ways. Could they be used to create a feedback loop? Something that would turn the swarm's energy consumption against itself?" The room was quiet as everyone considered this idea. "It's possible," said the chief scientist who had joined them. "But we'd need to place focus devices throughout the mining complex. It would be extremely dangerous. And we'd need a ship fast enough to get in and out quickly," Captain Ward added. Nixara and Laurel exchanged a look. They were both thinking about the Phantom Blade. "I might have a solution for that," Nixara said. "But first, we need to prepare the trap." Over the next 3 days, the Valorians and humans worked together to prepare their defenses. The scientists created special energy-focused devices using quantum crystals. These would redirect the swarm's own energy back at it, potentially disrupting its structure. Meanwhile, Earth ships patrolled the outer system, tracking the swarm's movement. The Valorian fleet made a show of moving to protect the major cities, leaving the mining areas seemingly undefended. On the third night, as they worked late in the command center, Nixara found Laurel alone, looking at star charts. "You should rest," the princess said. "Tomorrow will be difficult." Laurel nodded but didn't move. "I was just thinking about how strange life is. A week ago I was mapping stars near Jupiter. Now I'm helping plan a battle on an alien world. Do you regret it?" Nixara asked. "Being here?" "Not for a second." Laurel turned to face her. "I've seen wonders I never imagined, and met people I never expected to meet." The way she looked at Nixara made the princess's light patterns glow brighter. "There's something I need to tell you," Nixara said. "About tomorrow's mission." She explained that she would pilot the Phantom Blade into the mining complex to place the focus devices. It was too dangerous to ask anyone else to do it. "I'm coming. With you," Laurel said immediately. "It's too dangerous. All the more reason you shouldn't go alone." They argued for several minutes, but in the end, Nixara agreed. Laurel's knowledge of the energy patterns would be useful, and truth be told, the princess wanted her there. The next morning, they met Captain Ward and General Varick one last time. "The swarm has changed course as predicted," the general reported. "They're heading straight for the mines. Our fleet is in position to move once the trap is sprung. And the Earth ships are ready to attack from the far side," Captain Ward added. "Good luck, both of you." Nixara led Laurel to the secret hangar. Today, they didn't need to hide. The council had been told about the Phantom Blade, though not about Nixara's years of secret missions. The ship waited for them, its hull shifting between solid and energy states as if eager for action. "It's beautiful," Laurel whispered as they boarded. Nixara took the pilot's seat while Laurel sat at the science station. The hangar doors opened and the Phantom Blade shot into the sky. As they reached orbit, they could see the Void Swarm approaching, a massive cloud of dark energy with tendrils reaching ahead of it like hungry fingers. "It's enormous," Laurel said, her voice steady despite her fear. "Remember, we just need to place the focus devices and get out," Nixara replied. "The devices will do the rest." She piloted the ship toward the mining complex using the Phantom Blade's unique phasing ability to avoid detection. They landed in a hidden valley surrounded by crystal formations. "We'll need to split up," Nixara said as they unloaded the focus devices. "There are 5 key locations. I'll take 3, you take 2. Each focus device was about the size of a basketball, made of metal with a quantum crystal core. They had to be placed at specific points in the mining complex to create the energy feedback loop. "Be careful," Nixara said as they prepared to separate. "The swarm's advanced scouts might already be here." "You too," Laurel replied. Then in a move that surprised both of them, she quickly hugged the princess. "See you soon." They split up, each carrying their devices. Nixera moved through the familiar tunnels of the mining complex. She had visited many times as part of her royal duties. She placed her first device at a major energy junction, activating it with a special code. The crystal inside began to glow, ready to redirect the swarm's energy when it arrived. As she moved toward her second location, she heard a strange sound like electricity but with an odd wet quality. Pressing herself against a wall, she watched as a tendril of the void swarm moved through a nearby tunnel. It was like a living shadow, absorbing the light around it. Nixera held her breath until it passed, then continued on her mission. She placed her second and third devices successfully, then headed back to the meeting point. Laurel was already there, looking worried. "I saw one of them," she said, as Nixera approached. "It nearly found me." "I saw one too. They're moving faster than we expected. Did you place both devices?" Laurel nodded. "Both active and ready. Then let's get out of here." They hurried back to the Phantom Blade. As they approached, they saw more swarm tendrils appearing, converging on the ship. "They sense the ship's energy," Nixera said. "Run." They sprinted the last 100 meters, the shadows closing in behind them. Just as they reached the ship, a tendril touched Laurel's leg. She cried out in pain and stumbled. Nixera turned back, grabbing Laurel and pulling her into the ship. The human's face was pale with pain. "It burns," Laurel gasped. Nixera helped her to a seat, then rushed to the controls. The swarm was surrounding them now, drawn to the ship's power source. "Hold on," she shouted, activating the engines. The Phantom Blade rose swiftly, phasing in and out to confuse the swarm. Tendrils of dark energy reached for them but couldn't maintain their grip on the shifting hull. As they broke free of the planet's atmosphere, Nixera sent the signal to activate the trap. All 5 focus devices powered up at once, creating a powerful energy web. On the view screen, they watched as the swarm, now fully concentrated over the mining complex, began to react. The dark energy cloud swirled faster, drawn deeper into the trap. "It's working," Laurel said weakly. The burn on her leg was spreading slowly, a dark mark against her skin. "We need to get you to medical care," Nixera said with concern. "Not yet. We need to see this through." The Valorian and Earth fleets moved in from opposite sides, firing specialized weapons at the disoriented swarm. The energy beings tried to flee but were caught in the feedback loop created by the focus devices. Suddenly, there was a flash of brilliant light from the surface. The focus devices had reached critical power, creating a massive energy discharge. The void swarm's unified structure collapsed. Individual energy beings scattered in all directions, many dissipating entirely. "They're breaking apart," Laurel exclaimed. The fleets pressed their advantage, hunting down the scattered remnants. Within an hour, sensors showed that the swarm had been completely neutralized. 3 days passed before Laurel opened her eyes. Nixera had barely left her side, watching as the royal doctors used advanced healing techniques to drive the swarm's energy from her body. When Laurel finally woke, Nixera was dozing in a chair beside the bed. The human reached out and gently touched the princess's hand. Nixera woke instantly, her light patterns flaring with joy. "You're awake." "How long was I out?" Laurel asked, her voice rough. 3 days. The swarm's touch is deadly to most beings, but humans seem to have some natural resistance. Nixera poured a glass of water and helped Laurel drink. "The doctors were amazed you survived." "Humans are stubborn," Laurel said with a weak smile. "Did it work? The trap?" "Perfectly. The void swarm is gone. Valoria is safe thanks to you." Laurel tried to sit up but winced in pain. Her leg was wrapped in glowing bandages that pulsed with healing energy. "Take it easy," Nixera said, gently pushing her back. "You need to rest. What happened while I was sleeping?" "Did the Confederation arrive?" Nixera's antenna twitched with irritation. "Yes, Prince Zextor and his fleet arrived just after the battle ended. He's been demanding to see me, claiming he deserves credit for the victory because his ships drove off the remnants of the swarm." "What a hero," Laurel said sarcastically. "The council wants me to thank him publicly and reconsider his marriage proposal." Nixera sighed. Politics never ends. And what do you want? Laurel asked softly. Before Nixara could answer, the door opened. Captain Ward entered with General Varex. Lieutenant, good to see you awake, Captain Ward said warmly. You had us worried. It would have been a shame to lose such a valuable ally, General Varex added. His attitude toward humans had clearly improved. We've received a message from Earth Command, Captain Ward continued. They're impressed by what we've accomplished here and want to establish formal relations with Valoria. Without Confederation approval? Nixara asked. Earth doesn't recognize the Confederation's authority over us, Captain Ward replied. We prefer to make our own alliances. General Varex looked uncomfortable. The Confederation representatives are meeting with the Council now. They're not happy about human involvement. Let them be unhappy, Nixara said firmly. Valoria might not exist if not for Earth's help. There's something else, the general added hesitantly. Prince Zextor is insisting that the human ships leave immediately. He claims their presence violates Confederation treaties. And what does the Council say? Nixara asked, though she already knew the answer. They're considering his request. The prince has threatened trade sanctions if his demands aren't met. Nixara stood up, her royal dignity on full display. Tell the Council I will address them in 1 hour, and invite Prince Zextor to attend as well. After they left, Laurel looked worried. What are you going to do? Something I should have done long ago. Nixara's light patterns flashed with determination. But first I need to know something. How soon can you travel? The doctors say I need at least a week before. We might not have a week. The Confederation could force the Earth ships to leave sooner. Why does that matter for me? I could stay here while I recover. Nixara took a deep breath. Because I want you to take me to Earth. Laurel's eyes widened. What? I'm going to reject Zextor one final time. And then I want to see your world, establish formal relations between our planets, without the Confederation's interference. The Council will never allow it. They can't stop me. I am still their princess. Nixara sat on the edge of the bed. Laurel, when I thought I might lose you, I realized something. All these suitors who claim to want me, they know nothing about me but you. You've seen the real me. The pilot. The fighter. Not just the princess. Laurel reached for Nixara's hand. And I like what I've seen. Their eyes met, and Nixara felt her light patterns change to color she had never shown before. She leaned forward slightly, then hesitated, unsure of human customs. Laurel smiled and closed the distance between them, pressing her lips gently against Nixara's. The princess had read about human kissing but had never experienced it. The sensation was electric, sending waves of light cascading across her skin. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing faster. I'll take you to Earth, Laurel whispered, whenever you're ready. An hour later, Nixara stood before the full council. Prince Zextor was there too, looking smug in his elaborate uniform covered with medals and honors. Your Highness, the head counselor began, we have heard Prince Zextor's concerns about the human presence on Valoria. I'm sure you have, Nixara replied coolly. And now you will hear mine. She walked to the center of the chamber, making sure everyone could see her. For too long, Valoria has allowed the Confederation to dictate our relationships with other worlds. We have been told which allies we can have, which trading partners we can choose, even who I should marry. Prince Zextor shifted uncomfortably. When the Void Swarm threatened us, where was the Confederation? Nixara continued. Their ships arrived after the battle was won, a battle we fought with Earth's help. The delay was unavoidable, Prince Zextor protested. My fleet came as quickly as possible. Really? Because Captain Ward's ships traveled twice the distance in half the time. Nixara fixed him with a cold stare. The truth is, you waited to see if Valoria would fall. If the swarm had destroyed us, you would have claimed our crystal mines. Anyway, as protection for the remaining resources, the council members murmured among themselves. Some looked shocked, others nodded in agreement. That's absurd, Zexter sputtered. I came to save your world. No. You came to claim it. Nyxera turned to address the whole council. The humans came with no expectations, no demands. They fought beside us because it was right. That is the kind of ally Valoria needs. Confederation will not allow an alliance with Earth, one counselor warned. Then perhaps it's time Valoria reconsidered its position in the Confederation. The room fell silent at these words. Leaving the Confederation was unthinkable, or had been, until now. You would risk everything for these primitives. Prince, Zextor asked incredulously. They are not primitive. They are different. They think differently, solve problems differently, and that diversity of thought saved us. Nyxera drew herself up to her full height. I am officially rejecting your proposal, Prince Zextor, and I am announcing my intention to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. The prince's face darkened with rage. You will regret this decision, Princess. The Arcturus Dominion will not forget this insult. Is that a threat? Nyxera asked quietly. It is reality. The Confederation has protected Valoria for centuries. Without us, you stand alone. Not alone. General Varix stepped forward. I believe I speak for the military when I say we would rather stand with honest allies than false friends. Several council members nodded in agreement. This is madness, Zextor hissed. I offer you power, status, protection, and you choose a weak human instead. Nyxera's light patterns flashed brightly. I choose Valoria's independence. And yes, I choose Laurel Bennett, not because she is human, but because she sees me as a person, not a prize. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some members shouted support, others warned of consequences. Prince Zextor stormed out, already calling his ships to prepare for departure. By evening, news of the princess's decision had spread throughout the capital city. Opinion was divided, but many Valorians had been impressed by the humans during the battle with the Void Swarm. Nyxera returned to the medical center to find Laurel sitting up in bed, looking much stronger. I heard what happened, Laurel said. The whole palace is talking about it. Are you ready for an adventure? Nyxera asked with a smile. Because I think we should leave soon before the Confederation tries to stop us. The doctors cleared me to travel tomorrow. Laurel's expression grew serious. But Nyxera, are you sure about this? You're risking everything. Your position, your world standing. I've never been more certain of anything. Nyxera sat beside her. For years I've wanted Valoria to be truly independent. This is our chance. And us? What about us? Laurel asked softly. Nyxera took her hand. I want to explore that too. Whatever this is between us, I've never felt it before. I want to see where it leads. They spent the night making plans. Captain Ward agreed to take them to Earth on her ship, while the Phantom Blade would be secretly loaded aboard. General Varix would handle the council, assuring them that the princess was establishing diplomatic relations, not abandoning her duties. The next morning, as they prepared to leave, Kellis came to Nyxera's chambers. Your Highness, the council is divided, but most support your decision, he reported. However, we've received word that Prince Zextor has called for confederation, sanctions against Valoria. As expected, Nyxera replied. But by the time they act, I'll have already reached Earth and begun negotiations for a new alliance. It's a bold move, Princess. Kelly smiled slightly. Your parents would be proud. Nyxera felt a wave of emotion at the mention of her parents who had died when she was young. Thank you, Kellis. Take care of things until I return. At the spaceport, a small crowd had gathered to see them off. Some cheered, others looked worried. Captain Ward's ship, the Earth Star, waited on the landing pad. Earth looked like a blue jewel from space. Nyxera pressed her hands against the viewing window as the Earth Star approached the planet. It's more beautiful than I imagined, she whispered. Laurel stood beside her, watching the princess's reaction. With delight. Wait until you see it up close. After a week of travel, they had reached the Sol system. During the journey, Nixera had learned everything she could about Earth, its history, cultures, and politics. She had also spent hours with Laurel, their relationship growing stronger each day. "Are you nervous?" Laurel asked. "A little," Nixera admitted. Her light patterns showed small flickers of anxiety. "I'm the first Valorian to officially visit Earth. What if they don't accept me?" "They will," Laurel assured her. "Earth has been hoping for peaceful contact with advanced civilizations for decades, and having a beautiful alien princess as our first visitor? They'll love you." Captain Ward approached them. "We're about to begin descent. Earth government officials will meet us at a private landing facility in a place called San Francisco." As they entered Earth's atmosphere, Nixera felt the weight of what she was doing. This was more than a diplomatic mission. It was the beginning of a new path for Valoria, one not controlled by the Confederation. The Earth star landed smoothly on a large pad surrounded by security forces. Through the windows, Nixera could see a group of humans in formal clothing waiting nearby. "That's the Secretary of Global Affairs," Laurel explained, pointing to a tall woman in the center, "and military leaders, scientists, diplomats. They sent their most important people," Nixera observed. "Of course they did. You're an alien princess with advanced technology. This is the biggest day in Earth's history." They prepared to disembark. Nixera wore her royal attire, a flowing dress that changed colors with her emotions, currently showing deep blues and purples. Laurel wore a fresh Earth Stellar Exploration Corps uniform that Captain Ward had provided. "Ready?" Laurel asked, offering her hand. Nixera took it, feeling the warmth of the human skin against hers. "Ready." The ramp lowered, and they walked out together into Earth's sunlight. Nixera felt the difference immediately. Earth's gravity was slightly stronger than Valoria's, and the air carried thousands of unfamiliar scents. The gathered officials stared in amazement as Nixera approached. Her translucent skin glowed in the sunlight, light patterns dancing beneath the surface. Her antenna moved gently, sensing the new environment. The Secretary of Global Affairs stepped forward, recovering from her initial shock. "Princess Nixera Zorvile, on behalf of Earth, welcome to our world. I am Secretary Olivia Chen." "Thank you, Secretary Chen," Nixera replied, her translator device converting her words perfectly. "I bring greetings from Valoria and hopes for friendship between our worlds." Cameras flashed as the historic meeting was recorded. News of an alien visitor had spread quickly, and the world was watching. The following days were a whirlwind of meetings, interviews, and diplomatic discussions. Nixera shared information about Valorian technology, culture, and history. In return, Earth leaders offered an alliance outside the Confederation's control. "Your timing is perfect," a military general told her during one meeting. "Earth has been developing faster than light technology for decades, but the Confederation has blocked our attempts to join the galactic community." "The Confederation fears change," Nixera replied. "They prefer to keep power concentrated among the founding worlds." "And yet you've broken from them," a diplomat observed. "Why?" Nixera glanced at Laurel, who sat nearby. "Because I believe in finding the right allies, not just the most powerful ones." In private moments, Laurel showed Nixera the wonders of Earth. They walked along the Pacific Ocean, the princess marveling at the endless water. They visited forests where Nixera touched trees and flowers with wonder. They ate foods from around the world, the princess discovering new tastes and textures. "Your world is so diverse," Nixera said as they sat in a garden one evening. "So many different environments, cultures, ideas. Is that good or bad?" Laurel asked. "Good. Very good. Valoria is beautiful, but we've become uniform. The same thoughts, the same goals for centuries." Nixera took Laurel's hand. "You humans are constantly changing, adapting. That's your strength." 1 month after their arrival, Earth and Valoria signed a historic alliance treaty. Nixera represented her world with the full backing of the Valorian Council, who had come to see the benefits of partnership with Earth. After the signing ceremony, they received an urgent message from General Varex. "The Confederation has imposed sanctions on Valoria," he reported via secure communication. and the Arcturus Dominion has positioned warships near our borders. Prince Zextor making threats, Nixara said with a frown. Has there been any direct aggression? Not yet. But trade has stopped and some of our allies are being pressured to cut ties. Laurel, who had been listening, stepped forward. General, what if Earth sent ships to Valoria? Not as a military force, but as a show of our new alliance. General, Barracks considered this. That might help. The Confederation needs to see that Valoria is not isolated. I'll speak to Earth's military council immediately, Nixara promised. Later that night, as they prepared for bed in the luxury apartment provided for them, Laurel found Nixara standing on the balcony looking at the stars. Thinking about home? Laurel asked, joining her. Yes, and about us. Nixara turned to face her. Laurel, when this diplomatic mission ends, I'll need to return to Valoria. I know. Laurel's face showed concern. And I'll return to my duties with the Exploration Corps. That's what I wanted to talk about. Nixara's light patterns pulsed with emotion. I don't want to be separated from you. What are you suggesting? Come with me to Valoria, not just as a visitor but as my partner, my consort. Laurel's eyes widened. Are you proposing to me? In human terms, yes. Nixara took both of Laurel's hands. In Valorian tradition, I'm offering you my heart light, my true self. Laurel was silent for a moment, then smiled. Well, it would be a first. No human has ever married an alien princess before. Is that a yes? Instead of answering with words, Laurel kissed her deeply. Nixara's entire body glowed with joy, lighting. Up the balcony, when they finally parted, Laurel whispered, Yes, 1,000 times yes. 2 days later, they received unexpected news. A Confederation diplomatic vessel had arrived in Earth orbit, requesting permission to land. They want to meet with you, Secretary Chen told Nixara. They say it's urgent. I'll meet them. Nixara decided, but not alone. The meeting took place at a neutral location, a conference room in a government building. Nixara and Laurel arrived to find 3 Confederation representatives waiting. A tall, blue-skinned Altarian, a reptilian Draxus, and to their surprise, Counselor Telax from Valoria. Princess, Telax bowed. The Confederation Council has sent us to discuss recent developments. You mean my alliance with Earth? Nixara asked directly. Yes, and the situation with the Arcturus Dominion. The Altarian diplomat stepped forward. Prince Zextor is pushing for military action against Valoria. That doesn't surprise me, Nixara replied coldly. His pride was hurt. The Confederation has no desire for conflict, the Draxi said. But this alliance with Earth complicates matters. How so? Earth is not a Confederation member. We're free to make our own alliances. True, Telax admitted. But the technology sharing outlined in your treaty. It would give Earth capabilities the Confederation has long worked to restrict, Laurel spoke up. You mean you've deliberately kept Earth isolated because you fear competition? The diplomats exchanged uncomfortable glances. We've monitored Earth for decades, the Altarian said finally. Your species advances rapidly, adapts quickly. Some Confederation members find this concerning. So you came to demand we end our alliance? Nixara asked. No. To everyone's surprise, it was Telax who spoke. We came to offer a compromise. The Confederation proposal was unexpected. Formal recognition of the Earth-Valoria alliance, with Earth to be granted observer status in the Confederation. In return, certain technology transfers would be regulated and gradually implemented. This is a significant concession, Telax explained. Many in the Confederation opposed it, but others see the potential benefits of human involvement. What changed their minds? Laurel asked suspiciously. Your defeat of the Void Swarm, the Draxus admitted. That impressed many council members. A threat we've struggled with for centuries, eliminated by a combined Valorian human force. Nixara and Laurel requested time to discuss the offer with Earth's leaders. After the Confederation representatives left, Laurel turned to Nixera. Do you trust them? Not entirely, Nixera replied. But this is progress. They're negotiating instead of threatening. Over the next week, intense discussions took place between Earth leaders, Valorian representatives, and the Confederation diplomats. Eventually, a new treaty was drafted, one that maintained the Earth-Valoria alliance while establishing a pathway for Earth to join the galactic community on its own terms. The day the treaty was signed, celebrations erupted across Earth. Humans were finally being recognized by the wider galaxy. You've changed history, Laurel told Nixera as they watched fireworks over San Francisco Bay. You've opened the door for Earth.